Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, I figured I'd jump into my Laker conversation bag. I'm halfway through my breakfast. Figured I'd give my stomach a rest here. Darvin Ham made a statement. I'm paraphrasing, but essentially he was saying, I'm sick and tired of everybody living and dying with every game. We have a marathon here. This is a marathon. And the problem with his statement is the idea that, first of all, we care about our team and we are paying for each and every game, whether it be through cable or going and buying tickets. The fans, Genie is asking the fans to literally pay for every game. So if we're not living and dying with every game, then how much should we care to contribute to what she's selling every game? So that becomes a slippery slope just from a business and business representative perspective. You're the head of the team, and while I understand that you're not trying to say that, but it does kind of put that seed in the back of people's mind where he's like, some will say, yeah, he's right, we shouldn't live and die with every game. I think I'll just watch every 2 weeks, see how we're doing in this marathon, rather than to focus on every game. So I think that's a problematic statement that I'm sure he would love to not have attached to his name as a professional of a basketball team, especially one like the LA Lakers, where we have the biggest fan base arguably in sports, period, all over the world. Everybody loves the team, and one of the reasons why we love the team is because they've been attached to excellence, and we've had players like Kobe Bryant who literally lived and died with every game, and gave his all in each and every one of those moments. So you're asking us to kind of put down what it is that makes us who we are when you say stuff like that, and we take it in the literal sense. I understand his frustration, but I think this is kind of what it is, man. You signed up to be a Laker coach. You didn't sign up to be a coach of a team that didn't have a rabid fan base of people who are a mixture of extremely casual fans all the way up to basketball savants. You know what I mean? You got everybody here. So when you say stuff like that, you got to understand that you're talking to everybody. And not everybody is living and dying with every game. So it's just one of those situations where it's just I know exactly what he was trying to say, but I also understand what could be interpreted from what he's saying, and a lot of different things that he took from that he probably didn't intend. In a moment of frustration when he was speaking out of that frustration. For me, as a Laker fan, I'm just like, look, man, as I told you guys in last night's reaction video that I encourage everybody to check out of the Grizzly game, I don't really have a problem with Darvin Ham learning and growing in his progressions and things like that if we don't have such a very short window for which to address. Our timeline is right now, every year, with LeBron James being the age that he is, eating up as much of the cap as he does, with the responsibility we have to not trade him, with the ability for him to opt out. It's not like this is an easy fix for Genie Bus when dealing with LeBron James. So you cannot disrespect that, so to speak, by not hanging your hat on every game. You need to be detail oriented at all times, because of the sensitivity of not only what you're dealing with, but because of how difficult it is to fix it if you're messing up as a coach. And so, given the fact that the roster is not very good, and I said at the beginning of the year, before we even played a single game, that I thought this team was relying upon too many inexperienced players to come together to have to rely upon one another. That was my initial thought after the draft, when every free agent was signed. This team has some good pieces, but I don't need those pieces relying upon one another, because none of them, outside of Bron and AD, are players that I think we can. Too many young guys that we're asking to be older and more experienced than they actually are. Rui Hachimura is still developing, Austin Reeves still developing, Vanderbilt still developing. You know what I mean? These are very, very young players that we need to play bigger roles in a very pressurized and close short window, and it just didn't make for the greatest competitive situation. If everything came together and everybody was healthy from the start to finish, then you could see the team being a bit better. But a lot of things had to fall into place, and it didn't. We started off hurt. The team was injured, severely injured to start the season. That made it a lot worse. The game started piling up. The schedule was not easy. It was very condensed. It was a lot of back-to-backs. And we had some key pieces missing at all times, like almost all times. And as I said, the team doesn't practice enough for the problems that they have. And then every time somebody goes out, the coach has to try to rearrange the pieces to make it make sense. You got one-way players, so that makes it more difficult. I understand all of that from the beginning to a degree. The Gabe Vincent contract and the fact that he's not played a single game in the regular season for us. Vanderbilt missing a good portion of the season. Rui missing a good portion of the season. D'Lo and his inconsistencies. Austin and his inconsistencies. It's just a lot of stuff surrounding LeBron and AD that made it so that even though they were healthy, the team was constantly changing. And, again, players relying upon one another who probably should not be asked to. And when you have an unstable system on top of that doesn't necessarily cater to common sense as it pertains to what the strategy is on the floor, you got players shooting threes all over us with the worst perimeter defensive team in the league, giving up the most three-point attempts than anybody in the league, from what I understand. That type of stuff is like you don't see in-game adjustments from the coach to say, okay, Marcus Smart is shooting us down. Let's put a different look at him. Instead, and I'm taking this directly from what Darvin said, he's more concerned about everybody else who could hypothetically hurt him. And that's why he's not changing the defense toward fixing Marcus Smart, because he's more so worried about the possibility of Bane and Ja and JJ. And it's like that type of thinking and not adjusting to what's actually happening to you while keeping the hypothetical idea of what needs to be covered because guys have a certain cachet is just not going to ever work, ever. That's never going to work. And this is what I've said about Darvin Ham. It was obvious to me that he did that when we were talking about the Philadelphia game and how he catered our defense to stopping the paint when all they were doing was shooting perimeter shots. I mean, stuff like that. It's just like, yo, if you're going to look at things and say, this is what they do, and so I'm going to do this, it's like, well, if they do something else, you're screwed. And that's exactly how Darvin approaches most of these regular season games. Now, the in-season tournament, everybody was locked in. We had plan B, C, D, F, G, everything, because $500,000 was on the line. And it just shows, like, you can say that's a player thing, but it also was a coach thing to me because he's the one that's supposed to be strategizing. It's his team that's strategizing. So it was like when the money's on the line, here he come, ready to go. But when it's a regular season game, now he don't want people to hang their hat on every game. It's like, I don't have time for that. That's low frequency, coach. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That's low frequency nonsense. If they put $500,000 on the line for every game, you would strategize properly and not have this lazy approach. Hypothetical, because we're going up against Joel, we got to clog the paint bullcrap. It doesn't work. And if you see Marcus Smart hitting 9 threes and you don't adjust your defense to address Marcus Smart shooting 9 threes because you're worried about Ja Morant, who's not even having that kind of night, JJ, who's not even having that kind of night, Bane, who's not even having that kind of night, but you worried about them, so you bet not change your defense. That's like, man, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Stop attacking hypothetical problems and face the ones that are in front of you. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. And so we've seen that so many times in his approach and his preparation through over the course of the last year and a half. Until now, everybody's just fed up with him. A good portion of us are fed up with him. I've heard a few people say it's not the coach's fault, but a lot of them are not looking at the schematics of what's going wrong and how he's in control of some of those things. A lot of people just don't want to see the Lakers blame the coach. That's more so what a lot of people are concerned with. It's like, yo, you always blame the coach. Like, yeah, and we always have a reason to, but I don't think people really understand that a lot of this is on Darvin, and it's not the easiest job in the world. And maybe there were some things that he needed to do differently, and maybe he would do them differently if it was 5-6 years down the road. But he is in his second year, and we needed him to be better. Unfortunately, he wasn't ready for that. Along with the rest of these players that are inexperienced. We need Austin Reeves to be in year 7. We need Rui to be in year 7. You see what I'm saying? These players and these coaches, they're not where we need them to be in the roles they need to be in, especially for the problems we've had. So that's why a trade is so important. That's why a coaching move is likely something the Lakers see as important as well. And just listening to what Darvin's been saying these last couple of days, he just don't look like he's up for the problems that we have right now. He don't look like he's up for it to me. Type of, statements that he's making, I'm tired of. Nah, we don't want to hear what you're tired of. We don't, because at the end of the day, if you want us to stop complaining. You need to first give us better product. React to what you're seeing rather than what it is that you see on paper. John Morant's down there, so he could go for 50 points. Yeah, but Marcus Smart is actually going for 9 threes. Address that. And then force John Morant to now jump into the mode of going for 50 points in order to beat us, rather than letting something beat us while you're worried about what could possibly beat us. That type of stuff just doesn't leave much patience for anybody within any Laker fan. We don't care for that type of mentality. We don't harbor that type of mentality. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. We beat what's in front of us. We have 17 championships as a team, and it wasn't just because we had the greatest players or the greatest coaches. It's because we addressed what was in front of us. Our teams beat who was beating them. Not the idea of this is who we go against, so therefore that's what they do, and we have a preconceived notion that we won't waver from, and even if things are doing wrong, we're going to stick to that because that's stupid. You're going to lose, and we are losing, and that is the problem. And that's a Darvin thing. And so that's really what it comes down to. I've heard a lot of people say, the team wouldn't be better. Even if you fire the coach, the team ain't going to be better. Wrong. It's wrong. Because there are going to be coaches who are going to be able to get more out of this team. Simple. There are players on this team this coach hasn't used. There are players on this team that he's putting in the doghouse inexplicably on nights where he needed them and the elements they brought to the table. You're not going to see a team as bad if that coach uses this team better. It's not. I don't agree with that at all. I've heard several people say that, and it just isn't true. It just isn't true. A better coach will get better use of these particular players. And so that's what it really comes down to, man. We can't afford to get any further down the depth chart. The standings in this NBA this year. We're 2 games below 500 in 11th place. We got Bron and AD healthy, with Bron at 39 years of age, 21 years into his career. How many more years does he want to play? His son is going to be in the league any minute. He's already told us 4 or 5 years ago, years ago, that he wants to go play with his son no matter where he's at. And I don't think we have a line drive to drafting his son. We already know the Miami Heat are now scouting his son, and probably so many other teams that are hoping to take him off of us. And it wouldn't be nothing for him to leave us because he probably has a better chance of winning a championship somewhere else. And so we need to be honest about all of this and just say, what are we going to really do? We can sit up here and talk about trading this player or that player, but if we're in the space where we could be looking at a rebuild very soon, forced rebuild. And look at AD's eyes when he was sitting there trying to talk to the media. He looks miserable. You know what I'm saying? Look at Austin Reeves, his head down. Never seen Austin this unhappy. People want to say Russell Westbrook was a cancer. We weren't half as unhappy with Russell Westbrook as we are right now in this situation. We might have been irritated with Russell, but he was carrying us a lot of them nights. For better or for worse, however ugly it looked, all the turnovers and stuff like that, he had experience. And that's the difference between this year and last year. We're leaning on people who don't have it. Same guys, but they don't have those players that had experience. No Schroeder. You know what I'm saying? Guys who just been in this league for 7-8 years who know what the hell they're doing. Nah, that's not what the Lakers have. And the players that we're relying upon this year, they have a bit more holes in their game in some cases, like Taurean Prince, who's shooting well but can't really defend very well, doesn't have the ability to take the ball off the dribble, doesn't really do well in open court situations. There's a lot of problems there. You keep him on the floor for 30 minutes at a time. Most of the time, you have those holes on the floor. We didn't have that player last year, so those holes weren't on the floor. You see what I'm saying? These are things that are new problems. You know, and coach don't want to play Christian Wood. Christian Wood's the only serviceable center we have backing up any of our guys. You don't use Jackson Hayes. He's not very good for whatever you're trying to do. So you leave us without a center a good portion of the time. We know that leads to losses, just like we said at the beginning of the last season when we were doing it. You know, so it's just a lot of stuff. It's like these Lakers have new problems. This ain't as simple as saying it's the same team from last year, now we coming in. Where's Dennis Schroeder? He's not here no more. And all of the things that he brought to the table, stability. On a night like last night, he has 25 points when everybody else is cold. We probably get closer to winning that basketball game because of his production, and he rarely misses games. That piece is gone. Now you replace it with Jalen Hood-Schifino, who coach don't even put in the game. So when D'Lo's not out there, you don't have that piece that's stable, that's been in the league for 10 years and knows what he's doing. No, what you have is coach trying to use forwards. Got Austin, maybe playing point guard after later on, like at this point, but we didn't have him playing point guard for a whole 2 weeks, losing games. So these are the type of things. It's like, yo, man, this ain't the same team. You got a lot of the same players, but you got some new problems. You got new problems and the same coach who handles his problems the same way he did last year, which creativity that just doesn't cater to any success, hypothetical game plans that are lazy in nature, players not moving and fighting through his bad coverages. And that's what it really comes down to. You say the Lakers, I've heard rather a lot of people say the Lakers are a bad effort team. That's because they know they lined up terrible to start the play. They know damn well they're too far away from the perimeter. So why they gonna hustle their head off after having to hustle the other way, running bad offensive schemes? These are the type of things that nobody wants to really mention. If you put me in a position to succeed and line me up in the right positions to defend what's in front of me, then I'm gonna have the requisite amount of energy for you because I know I'm doing something I believe in. If you put me down there in a coverage, if this is defense in football, you put me in a coverage that spreads out the entire defense and they running the ball. And we ain't got nobody in front of these running backs and they get to run straight down the middle. I mean, how much effort you want me to do to give you trying to rush all the way back into a position to stop this guy when you let him get positive yardage just off the strength of the bad defense you're playing? This is the type of crap. It's like, yo, man, stop getting on the players for not having energy when they're being lined up wrong. Get out to the perimeter more. You got them playing drop coverage. You're guarding the paint. The team ain't even scoring in the paint. They ain't doing nothing but shooting threes. And you want them to close out harder? This is the type of stuff. It's like, yo, personally, as a fan of 30 years of the Lakers, who's hung his hat on every game for 30 years, I don't care for this crap. I don't care for anybody scolding me for caring about my team to that degree, or having expectations that he feel are realistic when I've seen my team win 6 or 7 championships in my lifetime. Your expectations for yourself are not meeting my standards as an NBA basketball Laker fan. Now, if I was a Sacramento King fan, we could deal with all your crap. If I was an Indiana Pacer fan, they never won no championship, we can deal with your crap. Because we don't know no better. If I was a Clipper fan, yo, this is fine. I hear people saying the Clippers run LA. Into what? What are your standards for the word run? You haven't won a single championship. You share the city with a team that's won 17. What are your standards for run? Like, if this is what his standards are, he needs to be over there with Westbrook. It's the same thing I said about Westbrook. He wants to have fun. We want to win championships. I don't care about your fun, bro. We have fun when we popping bottles and hanging banners. That's when the fun is to be had. Until then, I'm thinking like the Mamba. I'm not thinking like you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking like you. You think like you, and that's why you have what you have in championships. We don't have those problems. We know what it takes to win. We're not just sitting up here looking around saying, man, we have high standards for no reason. We've been watching excellence our entire lives. We don't give a damn about these loser mentality nonsense. People like that need to be over there. Where the definition of run means not winning anything and just winning in the regular season against us while getting slaughtered by everybody else. Nah, fam. Run your ass over there. That's why I say to anybody, and I mean anybody who has that mentality when they put on purple and gold, you ain't gonna disrespect my team and the colors that we hold and the expectations we have for ourselves based on standards that have been set for people who were able to meet those expectations for years and years and years at a time, decades at a time. They met those expectations. Just because you're not able to, that don't mean that we got to lower ours for you. Get out of here. You tired of us? We tired of you. You ain't delivering. You get us to the Western Conference Finals. Think I'm going to be excited about that? Do that for the Clippers. That's their expectations. They want to get to the Western Conference Finals. That's good enough for them. They never done that before. So they can get to the Western Conference Finals. Hurrah, we run the city. As for me, my definition of run means keep on running up them championship banners. We're not the same, fam. People come here with mediocre attitudes and mentalities, think they're about to just put on our uniform and bring those standards down and then hold us to them low-ass standards. Want us to come down on their standards. I ain't coming down on your standards, bro. Because I lived through Kobe and Shaq, Kobe and Powell, Magic and Kareem. I don't care for your standards, bro. If you cool with just the long journey and you 500 and we get to the in-season tournament and we get to the and then you want props, bro, you came to the wrong place. You get no props for that. You failed. In-season tournament, man, I don't care about no in-season tournament. That wasn't the best team that we seen in the league. That ain't the best team in the league we just beat there. We didn't go through the rigors of no playoffs. You won some games that you had the incentive to actually do your job properly. $500,000 incentive for you to actually do your job properly. You did it properly. We thank you for it. But that wasn't no damn championship. I look up and saw D'Lo, how happy he was holding them damn bottles. I'm like, bro, you ain't experiencing nothing. That ain't no real championship. And then have the nerve to come out and be lackluster afterward, like they actually should be getting some props or something. Man, get the hell out of here, all of y'all. I only see two people on this team that's delivered for us. That's LeBron and AD. Everybody else who's here has yet to do that. And while I respect and like all of them, I ain't lowering my standards for none of them. You got to deliver if you want props around here. It's the same thing I said to Bron before we won the tournament, before we won the bubble. You ain't getting no props till you won, bro. But he's won now. So he gets those props. But as far as everybody else, like Darvin Ham, bro, last time I saw you in the finals, you was beating us with the Detroit Pistons as a bench role player. You ain't done nothing for us. Nothing. Not by our standards. Now, we will give you your props for what it is that the NBA standards are as a whole. You got us to the Western Conference Finals, won the in-season tournament. Hooray. I saw about a lot of bad basketball leading up to that point. Whole lot. And I complained about all season long last year. Saw a comment, someone said, the Laker fans, how did Darvin become a bad coach after winning the in-season tournament? Y'all was praising him before that. No, we weren't. We were mad at him all season last year, up until pretty much the second round of the playoffs when he had a good playoff series against the Memphis Grizzlies, or rather the Golden State Warriors. Then after that, we got swept. Didn't win a game against Jokic. Man, what? Bro, if Shaq and Kobe getting swept, we getting upset. You think we sitting up there celebrating? That was a failed season. You think when we lost to Darvin Ham's Detroit Pistons, you know how miserable we were? Yeah, we got to the finals. You think anybody was celebrating? That was a failure. We got blown out by the Celtics in 2008. You think people were sitting here celebrating we got to the finals? Hell no. It was a failure. It was embarrassing. We were pissed. So if you telling us to lower our standards to meet your expectations for yourself, believe me, you need to go. This ain't about nothing else other than you understanding where you at. We ain't that. We are the very cream of the crop. We are the very pinnacle of this thing. 17 NBA championships, all in the modern era. The Celtics won most of their championships when everybody was plumbers. We are not them. We are not them. They won all of their championships in the 60s, bro. All the championships in the 50s and 60s. They won a couple in this era and haven't won in a very long time. Okay, so we've been winning. We won this era, we won the last era, we won the era before that, and the era before that, and the era before that. We're not interested in none of these lowering standards nonsense. None of it. Tell me not to hang my hat on every game. In other words, you don't want us to be detail-oriented like you're supposed to be. Living and dying with everything. Yes, we're Mambas. Yes, we're going to live and die with every game. We're going to live and die with every possession if we're doing it correctly. And if we're doing it correctly in doing so, we will never have to die because we're going to make sure we're excellent in all those circumstances. To the best of our ability. You don't always win. The ball doesn't always fall. But being ill-prepared, not practicing, not putting your effort in, hypothetical proper preparation for what could be coming based on who we saw last year, even though they've changed everything they're doing over the last 3 weeks, and you ain't paying no attention to that? No, we ain't lowering our standards for that crap. You need to be better. We don't need to be less intent on seeing you be better. You need to be better. And if we don't see better and we kicking you out of here, we're going to find somebody who can get us there. That's it. That's not limited to you. That's everybody. That's everybody. That's anybody who's ever put on a uniform, anybody who's ever coached a uniform. If we didn't like what you did, we got you out of here. You're lucky you got Jeannie running the show because she's a lot more lax than us. We would have got rid of you a long time ago, bro. You wouldn't even made it to the Western Conference Finals because we would have fired you last year when you was running 3-guard lineups. You know this fan base ain't like that. So I don't even know why you talking to us like that. So that's what I got to say, man. Darvin losing me just off the strength of his approach to frustration, bro. You cracking under the pressure, which is, hey, some people do. But when you come to us, you can't be like that. Can't be like that because we not like that. You see what I'm saying? As a fan base, what we grew up watching, we we meet the pressures of everything we got to face. It's the Laker way, so I don't understand this. I'm tired of how everybody hanging their hat. It's a marathon. It's a marathon, but it's a marathon that we're detail oriented and focusing on. And because of it, you benefit greatly. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't want us, then you got to leave us because we ain't going nowhere. So that's what it really comes down to, man. A lot of us take this thing seriously. You know, a lot of people's happiness is hanging on their teams winning. And while a lot of people don't understand that, if you're a fan of a team, especially an excellent one, you understand where I'm coming from. This ain't acceptable. Not coming from the guy who's supposed to be leading our team to a championship. And these are unique circumstances at that, because we're not leading Alonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. No, you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. There's many a coach who never got a chance to coach players this great. Our team is healthy with those two. The rest of your team ain't, but every excuse you come up with is that we are too hurt to play well. But LeBron and AD is healthy. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, if the excuse is health and you're not referring to the core, then you know that's not going to be an excuse we accept. We let you get away with that all season long. We even agreed in certain situations, but right now, hell no, we don't agree with that right now. We're not going to. Not with Bron playing his heart out. Not with AD playing some of the best ball he's played in our whole uniform. And the whole time he's been here, this is some of the best ball we've seen him play. And while we may want to credit the coach for some of that, the majority of it I can't give him credit for. No, that's Anthony Davis. The greatness of Anthony Davis is showing, and he's not able to lead us to a championship with you and your hypothetical, non-adjustable preparation. And look, as I said, my biggest problem with Darvin Ham is not any of the stuff that everybody else is saying. It's the fact that he can't get these guys to practice more than twice a week. With the personality I have, if I was out there, this would not be happening. People would be angry with me, be running me out of town for different reasons, because I would be on their head in the media talking about how guys don't practice enough and how they won't allow me to do my job by implementing more practice schedules into the equation. That would be why they want me out of here. Like, these dudes lazy, I'm trying to get them to practice more, and they don't want to. They're too much divas to do it. That would be what I'd be saying to the media every single day we lose. You see why they look this bad? Because they don't practice enough. You capitulating with all of that. You letting people not scrimmage once every 3 weeks. We scrimmaging. How the hell are they supposed to be good at these changes you're making? That's my biggest problem with Darvin Ham. None of that other stuff. It's the fact that these team needs somebody in place like Pat Riley, who led us to 4 or 5 NBA championships in the 80s? 4 or 5 of them probably. He practiced. He made sure people practice. He didn't care what level. You could be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Norm Nixon. You practicing. You're practicing. And because of it, you're going to be Magic Johnson, Norm Nixon, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Otherwise, you're going to be a lesser version of that. Because people who work on their craft become better. It ain't just talent. It's effort and practice and repetition and conditioning. And these are things that we don't respect in this era enough. And Darvin Ham needed to be the taskmaster that made it so that it happened in that way. And because of it, he was not able to do that. You see what you see right now, in my opinion. Guys don't know their roles. Guys constantly getting hurt. Conditioning's trash. Guys not being in position half of the time because they don't run the stuff that they're running out there on the court. And you want me not to hang my hat on every game when I see this? You should be hanging your hat on every practice. And we wouldn't see this. Enough. I'm tired of mediocrity scolding me for being excellent. Get the hell out of here. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.